Okay, so I'm going to play a portion of this video from my channel that I put up a while back in August, I think. But the part that I put up that I'm going to play today doesn't really have anything to do with the moon. It has to do with lights and petrified wood and I don't know, just a bunch of stuff. So what's been happening is this piece of petrified wood that I found, it's like been on my mind. It's been in my thoughts, and the thought is forming, and it's one of those kinds of thoughts where I'm just like, it's a little unsettling to me. So this is one of these kinds of lessons that I'm struggling with putting out, because I'd rather not, quite frankly. So, anyway, I'm going to just kind of go through it. While I'm waiting for those other ones to render, let's kind of go through this real quick. So I was waiting. I'm still waiting, like you can kind of tell. This is the moon video rendering, actually. And this lamp here is a lamp that my grandma had given me. Well, she didn't give it to me. When she passed away, it was the one thing that I wanted of hers. It has a little shade on it, and it's something she got at a secondhand store, nothing of value. But I took the shade off because I was working on my project right next to it. You'll see that in a minute. But I noticed something about the light with the little, what do you call that? The little cap on it, the glass, whatever it is. Anyways, when I put that on and I was looking at it, I could see different shapes inside of that. And if I didn't know any better, I would think from the perspective I was seeing it at, which is a little different than the camera's picking up, I would think that there was a different shaped bulb in there, and how the filament in there is reflecting really caught my interest. So I just kind of was bored, and I figured, why not film that real quick and just see how that turns out. And that kind of got me one. Did you see that? I see little things, then sometimes I have to go back because I didn't learn the lesson that I needed to learn, or I didn't see what I needed to see. Okay. Back to what I had seen on the moon with these different lights that were happening and whatnot. So I wanted to kind of give the visual of the inside of that. You see how it has the little ripples in it? I see those kind of ripples, and that's just a flaw from when it was being blown, the glass blower, whatever, it's cheap little funnel thing. But when I'm taking pictures, not so much when I'm videoing, but when I'm getting still shots of the sky, either late at night or sometimes even during the day, I catch those kinds of ripples in the sky, especially in the night sky. It's really interesting where you can. Okay, so something that happened yesterday, my daughter's dog Z, he's a little rowdy sometimes. Yesterday, I brought him in from outside, and he walked up to my lamp. He looked at me and grabbed the cord at the plug and pulled my lamp off of the shelf, cabinet thing, whatever you call it, and it broke. It broke that glass hurricane part of it. The rest of it still works. But it was weird, like it was really strange the way that it happened, because I had been thinking about this petrified wood, and it was all tied together. So it's really interesting to me. See the particulate matter that's still floating around in the air. Sometimes it's really high up in the atmosphere or stratosphere. Sometimes it's just right at your doorstep, really. Can see it on the street lights. I just found that really interesting. So I'm kind of doing a voiceover here, so we'll see how much longer I've got till I move on to my project that I was working on.
I have to make one more little point here. So one other thing, like I don't scroll through my channel to find stuff usually, but it's weird because have you ever had things like settings changed, or I don't know. So I had changed a couple of settings on my thing, and then I had gone back and changed them back, and because I'm not perfect, you guys. I'm having this internal battle. Like, do I leave my subscriptions private? Do I make them public? What do I do? Because I don't even want to be on YouTube to begin with. I'm not looking for 5 minutes of fame. I'm just sharing some lessons that I learned that I was asked to share by my father. So, and by the way, that is Jesus Christ. Okay. The Lord God, come in the flesh. Okay. Just so we have that established. So I was looking for a video of a car that I used to have. See, I used to drive a 2001 Jaguar S-Type. It was white. And I wanted to get the license plate number off of it because I was also asked to, before I start looking at numbers and things in the world, I need to evaluate the numbers that are in my life and have been important to me and have, so my lessons get kind of scattered in maybe some people's mind, but it all works in mine. That's what counts. So, it's for me, there's a few details that other people might not pick up on, but I'm standing here going, wait a minute, that some of these things are a little bit on the impossible side. And it would only be certain people with a certain understanding that you got to turn everything upside down, So I'm just saying, if you know what I'm talking about, and or you've checked out Jonathan Kleck's work, you'll get that this is what the hell? This is craziness. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Yesterday, I was originally going to go yesterday and discuss some issues that I was seeing with the medical industry, and I'll talk about that maybe later. But this was a cool piece of petrified wood that I found in my yard. I've lived in this place for 5 or 6 years, and I've walked past this thing every single day thinking it was a rock. Yesterday, not yesterday, a couple days ago, we had trimmed the trees, and I noticed that there was something that I didn't see before. So I went back yesterday morning and I dug it up, and I was so excited about my treasure that I found. I actually hurt my back pretty bad thinking that I could just pick this thing up, not realizing, for one, that it was at least 8 inches into the ground, and 2, petrified wood weighs a heck of a lot more than a log. Now, I used to throw concrete quite often. I could handle 80-pound bags of concrete. I'd struggle after the 10th one, but I could get it done. And that's just a former job that I had. I come from sturdy stock. Definitely somebody that can handle themselves. So, and I've also had back injuries in the past, so I'm not complaining too much. I know how to fix it. No big deal. Just takes some time, which is how I wound up with all this extra time today. I hate being slowed down, but sometimes it happens for a reason. And so I stayed up and I got this all cleaned and waxed, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Not sure how much time there is left on this one, but so real quick, I'll just talk about what I was going to take you down to the river and talk about yesterday. It's one of my favorite places to go. My mother-in-law just found out that she has metastatic cancer, and we have dealt with so much illness in our family that I just really didn't want to deal with this one. But, you don't really have that option. So, let me scooch back here. Let's see if I can remember where those other pictures are here. sorry, this is my daughter-in-law. She's super awesome. Love her to death. Okay, so we'll just kind of cruise with the moon for a minute. So she went in and she had this ultrasound done to find out that it was cancer, biopsy, all that stuff. She went in a couple days ago for her PET scan, and then soon after the results, which I was asked to come along for that appointment. I did, and in the week prior, she had decided that she really wanted to not do chemo and radiation unless she really had to. But she lost her sister not that long ago from metastatic breast cancer that had gone everywhere, and my father-in-law passed away a year ago, and just lots and lots of cancer. So we went in for the results of her PET scan, and I was kind of just silent in the background, fly on the wall, which is how I like to be. But in listening to when he was delivering the results and watching him scroll through the scan, first of all, I was really disgusted because his first sentence was, well, I really like PET scans, and not just because they're $6,000 a pop. That made me sick. Like, you're going to say that to your patient, really? And it didn't faze her or anybody else in the room. I was the only one bothered by that statement. Like, somehow that was funny. I just didn't find it funny. Anyways, moving on. So he scrolls through and he shows her, yes, it's in your lymph node right here. Goes down the lungs and shows that, the lungs look clear. Tells her, the kidneys, liver, and bladder are all going to light up anyways. We expect that. So basically he's telling her, yep, it's in your lymph nodes, which the whole purpose of this PET scan was to find out where it was coming from into the lymph nodes. So in her mind, she thought that it was only in her lymph nodes. And he slipped this little sentence in there that said, well, we need to get you scheduled with an ENT to see, because this is coming from somewhere. And I don't think she heard him say that. She was just all excited because she thinks, well, this is super curable. Oh, and it's not in her brain either. And I'm hearing him say, we still don't know. This test was a failure. We didn't get the results we were looking for, but we're going to go ahead and cost you more money. Oh, and by the way, Monday, I'm going to schedule you an appointment for radiation and chemo, and we're going to put a port in. We're going to put a feeding tube in. The next 6 weeks of your life is going to be a living hell. Thank you and have a nice day, pretty much. And somehow her interpretation of that was, I just got the best news of my life. Thank you, doctor. She literally hugged him. Oh, thank you, and was crying, and I couldn't say anything. It was not my place, My place was just to be an extra set of ears and a shoulder to cry on if it was needed, and support. I did talk to my husband about it because, I didn't know if he had heard it, which he didn't. He wasn't listening, or he heard what she heard. And I thought, well, they did hear the words. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I was hearing the doctor say words he didn't say. But their interpretation of them was different. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the best possible result for her at this time. However, I've been around plenty of doctors in the last little bit, and I just don't think I'm wrong. Anyway.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for just 1 second. So I have a few places in my house that I can actually go and make a video. It's really hard to find quiet place. I was sitting right next to my furnace and it kept kicking on, so I came in my bedroom. So I'm going to stop this part here, and I want to go show you this piece of petrified wood. I'm going to take a bit of a different look at it because it has something to offer for a few different mindsets, I think.